Hello, my absolutely beautiful astrology soulmates, and welcome to your horoscope for the week of October 3rd, where this week, not only is it a full moon week, as we're going to welcome in the full moon at 16 degrees of Aries, which is just I think we've needed a little bit of this deep breath to remind us of who we are and our own sovereignty, and to be able to honor that. I think that is a very big deal, but also very slowly creeping back in is some clarity. Mercury came direct just here on the 2nd, and Mercury is not only direct and starting to slowly pick up speed, which means that clarity will continue to come to us. Solutions and answers will continue to come to us until we get to the 16th. And then Mercury is in full tilt. It's moving forward. It's fully out of the retrograde path. But Mercury comes direct in the energy of Virgo, which is fantastic for discernment and prioritizing. And I really think that is a big piece of what we've got available to us as we travel through this week, is some solutions to old things, a prioritization, and also some discernment about where we need to go, because we have to be able to own our own sovereignty with getting there. We are not, as far as I know, able to be in more than one place at one time in the physical plane. So we've really had to figure out what needs our attention and what does not. Now, we've also got an absolutely gorgeous trine, I think it's an absolutely gorgeous trine happening between Mercury and Pluto. And I love this trine because it's really powerful for getting things done. So it's a really nice earth trine. So, the earth signs are working in the material plane, so we can go, yes, I can get this done. Now, something to keep in mind this week and until we get to the 31st is that Mars, while it is not in retrograde yet, is still slowed down. Okay, so this idea that we're going to force something or we're going to push something forward, it just will be met with frustration. There is this nice energy to hustle and get the things done, but it's the things that are making themselves available to us, the things that I have to bulldoze down, that's really not the direction to try and take your energy, okay? All right, let's talk about what else is going on really quickly. If you have not had a chance to get caught up in the YouTube Academy, or you didn't know, we have a free astrology school going on here where we started from the history of Western astrology and have worked all the way through skills and techniques. 52 classes worth of teachers showing up from around the globe to teach you. Access that at the YouTube Academy playlist, which can be found on my homepage, or I'll put a card up here so you can click it, and you can also find the link in the description box down below. And in year 2, we have teachers coming back all year long to answer questions and to bring us new content on the classes that they taught before. So the astrology learning is very accessible this year. All you've got to do is click, learn, watch, absorb, and just learn astrology overnight. That would be great. No. So if you're interested in any of that content, make sure you click into the playlist and check it out. Now, as we travel into October, in the YouTube Academy, we are actually going to have one session only in October, so that we do have a chance to get a little bit caught up in the classes if you haven't been able to watch everything, and to really absorb. The energy is moving very slowly, and we want to honor that before we pile on more and more and more content. So if you haven't had a chance to jump into the playlist, there are 52 classes for you to do some really good learning and practicing and deepening your knowledge, and I invite you to do so. All right, let's jump in here and see what is going on this week. Now, as we're coming into the week, it's really kind of quiet. We're coming in with that Mercury direct energy that happened on the 2nd. The moon is traveling through Capricorn. So we're still a little bit serious. We're in our serious emotional body, willing and ready to get things done, solution-oriented, maybe even a little bit more reserved as we're traveling here on Monday and Tuesday. Now, early Tuesday, we're going to see the moon move into the energy of Aquarius. This lights up our willingness to innovate, and I cannot speak enough to the importance of having an emotional, something moving us emotionally from the inside out that makes us go, yes, it is okay for me to innovate. It's okay for me to get different. It's okay that the world around me is changing and that I can have a little bit of comfort, right? Like, I got to be like that reed in the wind. I have to bend, not break. So I feel like the moon being here in the energy of Aquarius really calls out to us. But it also calls out to us to say, this is how I want to be different. This is how I want to show my unique self. This is where I want to rebel a little bit. I don't want to go with the flow of things. Inside out, here's what I uniquely have to offer and bring to this energy. And we get to explore this. This happens for you every month. You get like 2.5 days where you're like, okay, I just want to do me. I just want to be me, but I want to be me and serve a collective purpose, right? Like I want this to take us forward. So every month, if you haven't had a chance to track when the moon is coming through the Aquarian portions of your chart, this is a great time to start tracking it now so you can see what you come up with that is really in the vein of progress every month for 2.5 days. Okay, as we roll into Wednesday, we're still rolling in on that lunar energy. Now, when we get to Thursday, we get kicking like chicken over here. So the moon is going to move into the energy of Pisces first of all. So this brings a sense of culmination. This brings a sense of assimilation, like emotionally, everything you've seen in the last 30 days, what you've experienced, where you've been, you are bringing it into an emotional understanding where you're assimilating everything. And there's empathy. There's compassion here, which compassion means I can see and sit with your pain, right? I can see and sit with my pain and not try and change it. And it is all okay. It is all in the great emotional womb of the great mother. The moon in Pisces also, for me, represents a time in the month where you maybe need to blink out just a minute. Hopefully it's not in any way that's harmful, but is there a good movie that you want to watch? Do you want to dance? You want to take a walk and get lost in the music, get lost in the art, get lost in the movement? What does it look like where you get to allow yourself the freedom to move in between the worlds where everything is nothing and nothing is everything and everything in between? It's a very kind of esoteric place. Now, one thing that I will tell you too is because Pisces is and the moon together is a very porous kind of energy, I think you do have to be mindful of other people infringing on your space or pouring too much into another person's space, right? The creation and the solid compassion of delivering boundaries is really important when we're dealing with our Piscean energy. So that way you can discern that you're not taking in information and energy that you don't really need to be taking on or giving it to someone else yourself. So kind of set yourself free from the bondage of other people's energy by putting those boundaries up just a little bit. All right, we're going to see later in the day that we've got Mercury coming into that trine with Pluto, and this is an Earth trine. Mercury's still in the energy of Virgo. We've got Pluto in the energy of Capricorn. The trine is an aspect of ease, and sometimes it's so easy that we can miss how naturally it can work for us or how we can work with it. Now, being in both of the Earth energies, I love this because it gets driven, it gets focused. It is that, earth sign, get it done kind of energy. I'm finding the solutions, I'm applying the solutions, I'm moving something forward. I am just persevering and getting in here and getting it done. So it is a great day for getting something done. Do you have a project that you need to be working on and you really need that high level of persistence to help you get to the other side? Are you a researcher? What are you working on that needs this level of focus and intensity? Because this energy is absolutely here to be of service to you. Now, globally, we want to remember that Pluto has got a couple things going on. First of all, it's still an outer planet. So in our worlds in general, even on the global stage, not just the United States, we are going to see that Pluto is, first of all, getting ready to station direct as we get to the 8th. So Pluto is quite concentrated in its energy. So it is like this last ditch effort where Mercury is not completely sped up yet. Pluto is still in retrograde. So you're truly making changes, structural changes, material foundation changes on things that you've been seeing from the past already, things you've been waiting weeks. We're talking about this Pluto energy coming direct on the 8th, and I want you to flash back to what was going on for you April 29th, when Pluto went retrograde at 28 degrees of Capricorn? What was that lighting up in your chart? Because this is where some change has been happening. Now, Pluto has been in Capricorn since 2008, so there's been lots of changes through all of the degrees. 28 degrees of that sign has changed you in some way, has taken down structures, has allowed you to die off quite painfully sometimes in some ways, to be rebirthed in a different way. But pair that with conversations and things that were happening in your life, in your world, from August 20th until now, and you can usually find exactly what needs your attention right now to make those changes, okay? Now, on the 7th, before we get to this Pluto coming out of retrograde and the moon and all the other good stuff, we actually have another aspect as soon as we're rolling into the 7th. We've got the sun in an opposition to Chiron. So they're pulling in different directions, okay? The sun's still traveling through the energy of Libra, Chiron traveling through the energy of Aries. So we've got that opposition. Now, remember, in an opposition, it's usually relational, right? I think something should be this way, and another person or some other idea thinks it should be this way. So we can get further away from each other, or we have to find that sweet spot in the middle. Where can I compromise between the me and the we? Right? That's really what we've got going on in Libra and Aries, the we and the me, right? The sun and the Chiron here. So one of the things that I think of with Sun Chiron, in particular with Libra and Aries energy, is, what is it in you? And it feels like in this season to me, you guys, it feels like there are these last vestiges of these ideas of, oh, it could have been this way, right? Almost this last set of ideas that you were hanging on to that are like, maybe I really don't have to be different. It really doesn't have to be different. The question I think I have under this opposition for you is, today, under this energy, is there something that you're still fighting? You're still fighting it. You're still trying to solve it, instead of letting the universe do the heavy lifting by applying the surrender to win. Right? What is that for you? What is this lighting up for you? And for some people that will be more intense, and for others it won't be. For some people, the Sun Chiron opposition is going to be this time where it's like, I just really need to face my fears and go on ahead and get out there. Or I've been too worried about this, and you're right, Stormie, I can look at this from a different perspective, right? I can surrender a little bit more. Whatever it looks like for you. My question is, what have you been thinking about over and over and over again that has really caught your attention, and it's trying to keep you where you've been but not where you're going? So I would really love to hear about that in the comment section down below, should you feel like sharing with me. Now, as we get to the 8th, okay, first of all, we've got the moon moving into the energy of Aries, so we've got a little pump. We've got a little fight. We've got a little warrior going in us. But this is emotionally the place of like, damn it, I have a right to be here, right? It is very, I can do this. I can take up space. I belong. I have a place. I have a purpose. It is that kind of emotional energy that is fired up. It's also, the moon in a fire energy will say it. The moon in a fire energy will say what everybody is thinking, which is why sometimes it can be really intense, because a moon in a fire energy who hasn't actually experienced the emotion, but they're instead just reacting out of the moon in a reactionary base, can also say things that are really harmful and cannot be taken back. So as we all have the opportunity in different areas of our chart this month to experience the moon in Aries, think about that. Where are you reactive? You're just letting that reactive fire come out in that area of your life, as opposed to deeply feeling the fire and the emotion, and what does that mean, and then having a response instead of just a reaction, okay? Now, later in the day, we are going to see Pluto coming direct at 26 degrees of Capricorn now. As Pluto comes direct, I really think, even as we get to Tuesday night moving through Wednesday, Pluto is an intense little planet to like make a shift or to make a change. That's why I think it has to go very slowly for us so we don't pop off the planet. But as Pluto is coming direct, some of the things that felt like they were, in limbo in some way, were just like, oh my God, is it ever going to move forward? Is it ever going to be different? Is this ever going to change? Is this ever going to come to conclusion? Is that ever going to die off? Are we going to get to the end of it? Any of those, like, when is it going to go forward? Really kind of questions, I think, begin to feel like they're being answered. And because Pluto is one of our societal, outer planets, we can also see that truly things in the world, revelations in the world, secrets in the world are now coming to their unveiling. So all of these pieces of information, all of these pieces of structural change, things in the government, things in your own life, things around your money, things around authority figures, we will get to see all of this be different. And really the point is to be empowered by the truth of information, whether we like it or we don't like it. What have you seen in yourself that is holding you back from leaving a legacy in your life, from having material achievement that you would like to have? Where have you been too much in control and you haven't been able to shed that or put that down? Pluto out of retrograde says, I've showed you, we're taking a look at that, and hopefully you're going to have a chance to rise like a phoenix and have a really different empowered experience by seeing the truth of what has been going on, okay? Now, as we get to the 9th, we are going to welcome in this full moon at 16 degrees of Aries. Now, first of all, the full moon asks us to end something, acknowledge something, or to make an adjustment. All the lights are on. We get all the lights in the sky when we're dealing with a full moon. Unlike that new moon where it's like kind of dark. It's not kind of dark, it's dark. Okay? So we have the opportunity to end something, acknowledge something, or make an adjustment. Now, this moon is in wonderful connection with Chiron. It is opposing Venus. The ruling planet of this lunation, Mars, is also slowed down, getting prepared for a retrograde squaring Neptune. This is, to me, at this particular full moon, the signature of forgiveness, right? It's this Aries energy. Where do I have my sovereignty? And a part of my sovereignty is to cherish who I've been, what I've seen, what I've done, the past that I had, especially if I'm trying to live different or I'm trying to live better now and not continue on a pattern, right? This is really an energy, I think, that beckons a lot of forgiveness. And what a wonderful energy to be taking into Scorpio season as we move there as well, where the space for healing, spiritual, psychological, emotional healing is really rich and abundant. But I have to be able to accept myself in the vast fullness of all that I am, have been, and am presently delivering into the world. I saw a great quote and it said, the ability for a person, their ability to heal is in proportion to their ability to hear the truth about who they are or to see the truth. And I think that very much so applies here. Now, other things that I think of at this particular moon, because it is still in Aries, is that if something needs to change direction, right? You're like, oh, I see it now. I was giving too much. I was doing too much. My part was not being played well by me, and I need to make an adjustment. I would caution you to tiptoe slowly towards change here and to double check your facts or your information, because so much is still slowed down. That Mars interacting with Neptune, you might think that you have the answer, the solution, and you are making a permanent change based off of temporary energy, temporary information, temporary feeling, right? So it's like tiptoe towards that change that is available, but also recognize that you have a part to play in your life. You get to take actions. You are an autonomous, intelligent, brilliant, get to be here adult, but you're not free from the consequences that come with that. So a lot of grace and forgiveness for who we've been has to be applied if we're going to move forward, not making decisions through our wounds instead of our truths and clarity. So I think that this moon has a lot to offer us, and that is going to carry us. Remember, the most potent times of the moon are going to be that first 8 hours after it. But we're going to work on this from full moon to new moon, full moon to full moon. So you can look at it full moon to full moon in that big cycle, okay? And in the middle of this, we're going to also throw in a new moon lunar eclipse in the energy of Scorpio, which we will discuss in a couple weeks. All right, you guys, I love you a ton. Have an absolutely fantastic week. And I just want to say thank you too so much for all of your love, all of your support with all of the work that is going on. If you haven't had a chance to follow me on my other channel as well, and you are looking to build your astrology or your creative practice, I am showing up over there to show you how to do it. And I am really excited to serve our community in that way. Also, I've got information. Make sure you're subscribed to my newsletter because I've got more cool stuff coming specifically to the podcast. I've got some good stuff lined up, you guys. Let me tell you what, getting COVID and having some downtime actually worked in my favor because I got busy building. So I love you guys, and I can't wait to present you everything that I've been working on and cooking up over here. I'll love you, and I'll see you next week. Bye, guys.